Hey there, welcome to Building a Backpack, Episode 2. In today's episode, we're gonna run you through some of the most important events that have happened over the past few months in the process of building and launching our first backpack brand. The past few weeks has been a wild ride, so let's jump right into it. Update number 1, the new Building a Backpack series format. Originally, we were planning on making 13 distinct episodes in the entire series, each episode covering a distinct part of the backpack building process. But instead, we decided to do this series like this. An update episode every few weeks so you can follow along as things happen in real time. I'm super excited about the new format, but I'd love to hear what you think. Please let me know in the comments below. Update number 2, revealing our new brand name. Holy effing moly, after months of brainstorming, we finally picked a brand name for the new backpack company. And the brand name is, drumroll please, Venture Nation, or Venture for short. Let me tell you how we picked this name. You see, this new backpack company is going to be a mission-driven brand. And our mission is simple, to inspire you to take risks so you can live a life of freedom. We're still sort of tweaking the message, but in essence, the brand is all about empowering you to carve your own path in life. This means the freedom to travel, the freedom to work when you want, the freedom to live life on your own terms. And we'll accomplish this mission by empowering you with game-changing gear and connecting you with a growth-minded community. I believe so fiercely in these values in my personal life that I wanted to make a brand that I can pour these passions into. Ultimately, I want to make products that are symbols of the things that I believe in. So for me, defining the mission of the brand, that was a piece of cake. But picking a name for a brand can be a challenge. Here's 4 reasons why. First, the name needs to resonate with you on a personal level. I mean, I guess this isn't mandatory, but in my opinion, it's better to have a name that just resonates with you on an emotional and personal level. Number 2, the name needs to embody the mission of the brand. Again, also not 100% mandatory, but for me, I wanted to pick a name that immediately expressed the mission and the values of the brand. Number 3, the name needs to have an available domain. This is where things start to get a little tricky. You see, before I settled on Venture Nation, I had like 10 other names that I picked, and most of them I really liked. But unfortunately, the domain name game can be brutal. Most great domain names are already taken or are being sold at ridiculously high prices. Granted, there are a few ways around that. One way is by adding a descriptive word like gear or brand. Another way is by getting a domain that ends in .co or .io as opposed to .com. Or you can play around with the spelling, similar to what we did with Venture, V-E-N-T-R, or what other brands like Wandered and Mudwater have done. And number 4 is the name can't already be trademarked. So although domain availability can be a challenge, I ended up finding a few .coms or .cos that I liked and that worked with, the brand name of Venture. But unfortunately, when it came to trademark availability, I kept hitting a wall. You see, every time I came up with a new potential name, I would send that name to a trademark agency who would then run a study on the name. This study basically evaluates whether or not another company already has a trademark for that name, or if there's a name that's similar that's already trademarked. And over again, the trademark agency kept telling me the same thing. No. I kept picking names that were already trademarked or that were too closely trademarked already. This includes the name Venture. But I really loved the name Venture. Once I got it in my head, I couldn't get it out. So the agency recommended that if I wanted to keep the word venture, I'd have to get creative.
What you're saying is, we gotta get creative.
This meant adding another word to the name and adding a distinct graphic logo. So after much thought, I added the word nation and I had a sick logo made, which I'll show you in just a sec. I use the word nation as opposed to other descriptive words like brand or gear because nation puts the community first, which helps further emphasize the mission of the brand. And also, there's a nice correlation between Nomads Nation and Venture Nation. So the agency ran the study on Venture Nation with a new graphic logo and they came back to me and said, we are good to go. Now you might be asking to yourself, Aaron, why even get a trademark to begin with? Well, truth be told, I'm not really concerned with someone taking the name. I'm more concerned about being forced out of a market because the name is too close to an already registered trademark. For example, this exact scenario happened with Backpack Goliath's Nomatic a few years ago. They ran into a trademark issue which forced them to completely stop selling their products in all of Europe. And that is a nightmare situation that I want to completely avoid. So that's how we ended up picking the name, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the name. Is it cool? Does it embody the mission of the brand? Let me know in the comments below. Update number 3, finalizing our graphic and logo. But then after all that trademark shenanigans, we had the biggest challenge of all. Creating a logo, like a graphic that complemented the name, which is much harder than it sounds. For the logo, I had a few members of the Nomads Nation community reach out to me, including William from a company called Antipode. I'll put his contact information in the description below because he did an amazing job and I highly recommend him for any graphic design work. But ultimately, I ended up going with a graphic designer that I've worked with before named Pablo. I found Pablo on Fiverr about a year ago when I needed help with an infographic. Since then, he's been my go-to designer for all things Nomads Nation and Venture. And here is what we ended up with. Nomads Nation meets Venture Nation. I'm not gonna lie, Pablo did an amazing job. I am so stoked about this logo. Let's listen into a conversation I had with Pablo where he talks about the meaning behind the logo and his process for creating the logo.
Thanks so much for sending over those the designs. I gotta admit, the graphic is awesome, dude. It looks clean, it looks interesting, it's got a little bit of attitude to it. But I was just kind of wanted to hear what does it represent to you?
So when we started talking about creating this logo, you mentioned that you didn't want it to be like a shape or a silhouette that was recognizable. For example, like a chair or a building or a mountain or something like that. You didn't want any of that. So I started thinking about different shapes and the meaning of the shapes. So like in a concept kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So amongst all the options that we created during this time, this one that is started out like a triangle shape.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the meaning of one of the many meanings that has the triangle shape is that the moving forward concept. That was something that I felt that was important for you and for the brand. But not only that I didn't want to do just a triangle because you have many logos with triangles and it's also a recognizable shape. So what I did was just break it, just do it your own, just to be kind of edgy.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. So, you took the triangle and you broke it.
Yeah, and gave it that little attitude, that little personal touch that I think you were craving, and yeah, that's how it wasn't as simple as I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. That's how it came about, but yeah, that's the highlight.
Awesome, dude. Well, listen, man, I'm so stoked about the logo. It nailed exactly what we're trying to capture with the essence of the brand. And I'm looking so forward to developing this brand with you over the next course of the year. So I know I'm in good hands working with you, so I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate your confidence in me.
If you think the logo is cool, let me know by hitting the like button. And I'll also be sending an email out soon to the email list asking for direction with the color palette we should go for this new brand. I hope that you'll be there to vote. Update number 4. Backpack drawings revealed. So as our graphic designer, Pablo, was crushing it with the branding, our backpack designer, John, was blowing my mind with what he's been doing with the designs. Here's what the process has been like so far. A few months back, John and I had a call where I explained to him this completely new backpack concept. He then took his notes from that call, hit the drawing pad, AKA the iPad, And a few weeks later, he presented me with what's known as a concept illustration document. In the doc, he laid out 4 different concepts that would best bring my backpack idea to life. And out of the 4, we had to choose 1. Here are the options he delivered. Option number 1, option number 2, option number 3, and option number 4. Here's a behind the scenes look of a call that I had with John, where he now explains what the next steps are.
So what are we looking forward to next? What's sort of the next step?
I think we've finalized the design from an illustrative process. And now it would be to create the CAD, also to define the volume, to define the shape, to create like the guiding patterns for the factory. Not that it's necessary because they have their own sample room and pattern maker, but it's definitely a good guideline.
Sure.
And of course, creating the mold files, which are like intended for the back panel, etc., which is super important.
So we got CAD files, mold files.
Yeah. CAD files, mold files, and then we're basically ready to create the tack pack, which should be as complete and detailed as possible to give the factory everything they need to make a kick-ass sample and to come as close as possible to our vision, to ensure a smooth process and save time.
Hell yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking about. And do you have any idea what we're looking at, like a time frame? How many more months do you think until we can get a first prototype in our hands?
Yeah, I'm sure that by the sort of mid-end December, we should have prototypes already. I think it would be cool to create both connectivity solutions, send those to you and me, test them, and then get together and discuss like how we implement revisions towards the next sample, do those cycles until we get to a finalized product and be ready for production, which is an amazing thing.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's what I'm talking about.
So you're probably thinking, wait, which concept did they pick? Where are the actual backpack drawings? Well, I won't be revealing the actual designs on the YouTube channel for a while, but I will be sharing the drawings 100% in their entirety with the Nomads Nation email list in the next few weeks. If you're signed up to the email list, you'll get the first look at these drawings and you'll get an in-depth explanation of the backpack and the concept itself. Once you take a look at the video, you'll also get to vote in a crucial survey where you'll sort of give me your opinions on the development of the bag so far. If you aren't already signed up to the email list, you can do so with the first link in the description. Be sure to keep an eye out for that email. I am so excited to share these designs with you and hear what you have to say about them. All right, so let's sum everything up. From working with Pablo on the branding to working with John on the backpack designs, things are absolutely moving in the right direction. From here, I'm hoping that we can have our first prototype in my hands sometime around the beginning of 2023, a couple months. If you're signed up to the email list, be sure to keep an eye out for the design reveal email, which should be coming your way in the next few weeks. And let me know if you have any ideas or questions regarding the Building a Backpack project. I personally respond to every single comment. Thank you so much, and we'll see you for episode 3 of Building a Backpack.